Oh, hey, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. Can we hear me? The little dots don't seem to be moving at the bottom. I need somebody. You know what? We're gonna check on my YouTube. We're gonna check on my YouTube and see if you can hear me because I have a feeling you can't hear me. And that would really suck if you can't hear me. It really would. Give me a minute. Oh my God, where's my channel? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay, you can. Okay, great. You're like, what is happening? I'm telling you right now that I'm far too old for this. I'm far too like no one's here, no one cares. Right? That's what this has come to. People beg and plead and yell and scream at me to go live, and no one's here. I'm too old for this. We're gonna talk about graveyard dirt. I got some notes on my iPad. It's Apple. Okay. Support locally, shop internationally. I don't know. But oh, go away. Nobody wants your stupid email thing. So we're going to talk about graveyard dirt and its magical uses. We're also going to talk about crossroads dirt because I thought that I would go live and please the masses or something. Because when I go live, I tend to get more views. That, you know what? I've already said this. I'm going to say it again. I'm too old for this. I'm exhausted half the time. So what do I use graveyard dirt for? Nothing. I collected it a long time ago and I've used it in a few spells, but it's not even graveyard dirt. You're like, is it dirt from your backyard? That is what most graveyard dirt is, okay? People who buy graveyard dirt, they buy it from like these shops like Etsy or like Amazon. I don't know why you're buying graveyard dirt on Amazon, but apparently it's a thing. And they buy it from these other witches and, well, witches. And we don't know if they're witches. We don't know who they are. They could just be randos on the internet, right? Anybody can have a witchy blog. Anybody can have a witchy shop. And so they buy this dirt, and most of the time, you know what graveyard dirt is when you buy it from the internet? It's dirt from the backyard. Somebody went up to their backyard and like dug a hole and put it into some plastic wrappy thing and was like, I'm gonna sell this for $25.75 plus shipping, which is another $30.62. You've paid $56 and some odd cents for graveyard dirt that probably isn't graveyard dirt. So where do you get, well, obviously we all know where you get it from, right? But obviously pay attention to your county, your state, your country, your province, whatever, their laws around desecrating graves. Because I hate to be the one who's controversial and such. No, I don't. But digging up somebody's grave is desecrating it. Even if you're just taking some dirt, right? You're desecrating somebody's grave. Like, don't do that. So how do you get graveyard dirt if you can't get it from somebody's grave because that's desecrating somebody? That's literally you're desecrating somebody. You know what? You do you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm too old to judge you. I'm too old to sit here and tell you what you should and shouldn't do because at the end of the day, you're an adult and you can make your own damn decisions, okay? Let's just put it that way. So, a lot of people tend to get graveyard dirt from obviously graves. But they'll go into like a graveyard and they'll like find a grave and they'll just start digging. Give me some of that dirt. And most of the time, I don't think, even I don't really understand the meaning and the purpose of graveyard dirt. or crossroads dirt. Crossroads dirt you don't get from a graveyard. I'm pretty sure, but you can. You can. Okay, because there's lots of crossroads in graveyards. Okay, so if you're on the hunt for graveyard dirt and you're desecrating someone's grave, right? And you see a crossroad, might as well just go and start digging up the crossroads because you can get crossroad dirt from there as well. Most people will get crossroads dirt from like obviously crossroads, but like those country dirt roads where they intersect, right? Because you can get the dirt right from the center of the road. But don't be digging like a pothole, right? Can you imagine? You pull up to this crossroad, you're trying to decide which way you need to turn or if you need to go straight, and somebody's just in the middle of the crossroad intersection, just with a shovel, just digging all that dirt out, making a giant pothole. And you're like, excuse me, I need to drive here, preferably safely where you don't bust my axle. So let's talk about some of the notes that I have on graveyard dirt. So apparently it sounds off-putting, the term graveyard dirt. And some people don't work with spirits. That's usually what I use graveyard dirt for. Okay, I use graveyard dirt, and it's not even from a grave. We'll get to that in a minute. But I use graveyard dirt to talk with the spirits and to communicate with the spirits and to do magical workings with the spirits. And some demons that I've worked with actually like graveyard dirt. I forgot. A lot of you don't like it when I talk about demons. Oh, whatever. Not my problem. This is the witchy show, okay? The witchy show is too old to care about anything anymore. I've all but given up on my channel. I really have. I'm just gonna put that out there. So it's great in many magical spells, both ancient and modern. I mean, they call for it, but I haven't really found a spell that calls for graveyard dirt. I've made a few, right? I've made a few oils. I've made a few dusts. I'm pretty sure I have videos somewhere on my channel of me using graveyard dirt, but I've never really talked about graveyard dirt before. So apparently from Egyptian witchcraft to the practice of voodoo in the Americas, this strange but useful magical tool makes an appearance in spells around the world. I didn't know that. I actually kind of thought that graveyard dirt and crossroads dirt, specifically crossroads dirt, was more of like a hoodoo thing, like more of like an African-based kind of magical ingredient or item or whatever you want to call it. I never really thought of it as something that like a Wiccan or like a witch would use. I mean, I've heard tequila talk about it, but I've never really thought that white people who practice witchcraft used graveyard dirt. Clearly I was wrong. So there's talks in here about choosing a grave. So like select a grave site with that's meaningful to you and your purpose. For example, graveyard dirt from a resting place of a successful banker works well for spells to guard against financial assets or to guard your financial assets. Or perhaps you plan to use the dirt in a court case. Collect your dirt from the grave of a prominent judge in your jurisdiction for justice and fairness in court. If you maintained a close personal relationship with the deceased in your life, great. All the better. You maintain that relationship in death, either by caring for the site, bringing flowers, or honoring them yearly at Samhain. Now, I don't collect it from a grave. You're like, then that's not great. Yes, it is. It's graveyard dirt if you get it from the, say it with me, graveyard, right? It doesn't have to be from a person's grave, because in my mind and in the mind of the law, that's called desecrating a grave. And I don't really like to be in the middle of a graveyard digging up dirt. I don't really care. Like, I don't even know the people buried in the graveyard. I've got 3 or 4 graveyards around me. I have a Mormon graveyard, I have a Chinese graveyard, and then I have just like a general graveyard where like anybody and their mother's dog is buried. There's no pet cemetery though. If there was a pet cemetery, oh, I would be digging that shit up looking for them cat bones. Animal bones are amazing in witchcraft, but I don't have any animal bones, and I can't get my hands on any animal bones because, I don't know, there's nowhere in Canada that really sells animal bones, right? But if I could get my hands on a few skulls, I would be amazed. I'd actually be happy. I really wish there were more people in this chat. There's nobody in live chat and there's nobody watching. My viewer thing says there's 0 people, but I have 1 like. I don't know. YouTube's broken. People want me to go live. I tell them no, I'm never doing it again. And then I finally do it and like no one's here. It's that or YouTube is broken. It's one of the two. I don't know. There could be people here. I don't know. Anyways. So when you're collecting graveyard dirt, apparently it states digging around a cemetery or graveyard inevitably draws unnecessary attention. Maybe don't get graveyard dirt from graveyards within your city. I mean, not all of us drive, so I don't know. Again, at the end of the day, you're going to do whatever you want to do, right? But you need not to attract stares with shady behavior. For example, there's nothing especially odd or disrespectful about planting flowers at a grave site, although you should check with the groundskeeper to make sure that there aren't restrictions, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. This activity gives you a natural excuse to dig in the ground and an easy, discreet way to deposit some of the dirt into a small container. Okay, but like, what happens if you're digging and you hit the coffin? Right? I saw this lady, she wasn't like digging up a grave, but I think she was planting flowers, but she was planting them on, you know, when people get freshly buried and there's that like mound of earth, right? That's like sitting over top of their coffin or whatever. This lady was like, I guess, planting flowers on top of it, and it looked weird. And I was like, there's a freshly buried corpse there. I don't know. It terrifies, like, I guess it bothers me more than it terrifies me to be digging around somebody's grave, even if I don't know them, or even if I did know them. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like I said before, it feels disrespectful. And I mean, at the end of the day, you really are desecrating a grave. So when I get graveyard dirt, I'll usually go and find a space that's near the graves, but not on a grave and under a tree. I don't know. Spirits like to hang out under trees. The last time I was in a graveyard, which was last summer because I love graveyards, and I was actually out at this ghost town. I mean, we have ghost towns all over the place, and Montana has ghost towns all over the place. The states have ghost towns all over the place. But I was at a ghost town in my province, and most of the ghost towns around me are like 2 hours away, and I'm like, oh, it's so far. But they have this graveyard, and I went to it, and I think you've seen it in some of my videos. Yeah, I've shown this graveyard in some of my videos, and I didn't get any dirt from it, but I feel like if I was to get dirt from it, I would get it from, like I said, under a tree. Because when I was at this graveyard, anytime I went anywhere near any of the trees or the shade or under the tree or whatever, you could just feel the spiritual activity. It was kind of like you were stepping out of the physical plane and you were into like the spiritual plane, if that makes any sense. I don't know. So they also state here, it also fulfills your obligations to leave an offering or token of respect to this to the deceased. Now, I, as I already stated, don't physically collect dirt from somebody's grave. So I don't really leave any offerings at all, which is probably telling you that I'm doing this all wrong. But I really don't think that you can collect graveyard dirt in a wrong way. A lot of people tell you that you have to leave offerings and that you have to exit the graveyard in a certain way, which is true for the latter part of that statement. When I leave a graveyard after collecting dirt or pine cones or sticks or leaves or just things that I can use in my witchiness, right? Like if I just want to grab somebody's tombstone and just carry it with me back to my vehicle. I don't suggest you do that, but I have in old graveyards where the tombstones have like crumbled away and all that's like really left is like these broken tiny pieces of tombstone. I've taken a couple of those pieces, right? Like I won't take the actual, you know, if there's like a giant piece of tombstone that's left that's laying on the ground, I'm not going to take that. That's rude. But some of the bits and pieces of rock from the tombstone that are just lying on the ground, right, that can't really be put back together or anything, I'll snag a couple of those because they've got spiritual energy in them. It's one of the things that I love about graveyards is that you can go there and talk to dead people. People think you're crazy when you go to graveyards and you talk to dead people. People think I'm crazy. That's why the witchy show is like dead. The witchy show is dead. You're like, oh God. I'm sorry, but the witchy show is dead. It's never coming back. So honoring the memory of an occupant is just common sense. You're asking for their favor. I think you're doing a lot more than that. Like I know some people will like go around to certain graves, like they'll find like a serial killer grave like Ember Honeyraven did, or I don't know. I don't know the story there. She's got serial killer graveyard dirt. That's all I know. And she doesn't keep it in her house. Or at the time that she was living in like a condo building, like she didn't keep it in her condo. I don't know what she's done with it now. She might have just gotten rid of it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Ember Honeyraven. I wish she would tell me what's going on with her, but she doesn't tell me. I just follow her Instagram and try and pretend like I know what's going on with her, even though I have no idea. So some people talk about like leaving libations of wine or liquor, coins, flowers, so on and so forth. If you're going to be desecrating somebody's grave by digging a hole into the ground, whether you're planting flowers or not, could you imagine? So you go to this graveyard, you've never been to it, you've got nobody buried there, you just start like ripping up the earth to put some flowers in. And some like little 90-year-old lady comes by and she's like, that's my husband's grave. What are you doing? Right? Just be like, I'm planting flowers for him. I don't know him. I'm just planting flowers for random people. I'm carrying away half the dirt. But I've never really left, like I said, I've never left offerings for individuals at a grave because I've never taken the dirt from the grave. I've taken leaves off of a grave. I'll do that. I'll take leaves. Or like I said before, little bits of broken tombstone that's like lying on the ground. Or like sticks. I'll make wands out of those sticks and be like, I'm channeling the energy of the dead person. But one of the reasons that I really like graveyard dirt, even though I don't use it very much, like the graveyard dirt that I have that you've seen in a couple of videos, I've had for years. Because you don't need, like, you can collect a huge amount of it, but when you're doing workings, even with the spirits, you don't need a lot of it because a lot of graveyard dirt, I mean, a little bit of graveyard dirt goes a long way, especially when you're using it in oils. Like I've made an oil of the dead, and making an oil of the dead is a long process for me. Okay, it requires the gist of it, and maybe I'll make a video one day of making this, but it's like, it's a process. It's a 3-night process, and it requires communicating with the spirits and talking with the spirits and enchanting the oil with their energy. And what do you use the oil for after you've made this oil of the dead? You use it for protection. You can use it in money. You can use it in love. You can use it in communicating with the dead. You can use it in anything, really. It's like an all general purpose oil. Yeah. I keep looking at the little people icon on this YouTube live and it still says 0. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I go live when no one cares? Why do I even do the witchy show anymore? I don't know. Apparently there's substitutes to graveyard dirt. So patchouli leaf is one that I would agree with. Patchouli leaf is definitely a substitute for graveyard dirt if you can get your hands on it, because it is a great way of honoring and communicating and working and worshiping and all of that fun stuff with the spirits. I don't think a lot of you, I don't know. I've never really heard of any of you in my comment section talking about working with spirits before, or like, and then the spirits that I work with are like spirits of the dead, spirits of the land, spirits of the ancestors. I don't know my ancestors, so that's why I call them the spirits of the ancestors, right? Apparently coffee grounds can be used, and so can ground cinnamon. Coffee grounds to me sounds a little strange, but it says use high quality grounds for best results. These, and then they have a link to something, but it's called Death Wish grounds seem especially appropriate. I don't know what Death Wish coffee grounds are. We're not going to click on that link. There's ways of using it. So you could use it in Samhain rituals. I mean, obviously. Communicating with the dead. You could use it at, wait, you could use crossroads, or you could use graveyard dirt at the crossroads. It states that crossroads magic is its own thing, which I didn't know. But you know it and work with it. Leave some graveyard dirt at the crossroads when trying to decide between two paths in life. Assign one path to symbolize one option and one path to symbolize another option. Except crossroads are usually like 4 ways. So you've got 4 different directions to go. Well, 3 technically, because you walk generally down one road, and then you have 3 different roads to go down. There's one where the way that I look at crossroads is that you've got one where you'll generally walk down, like you're going to keep going the same path, and then there's one where it's like I could go this way or I could go this way. But if you really think about it, you could go in like diagonal. I mean, you can't go backwards. Okay, that's not how life works. You can't go backwards. I really wish I could go backwards. There's so many things that I would do differently with my life if I could go backwards. You could use it in the garden during the fall season. Sprinkle graveyard dirt in your home garden to honor the cycle of life and encourages the dead to come back in the form of your crop. Lovely for people who believe in reincarnation. I don't really believe in reincarnation anymore. I think that when you die, you're just dead. You're gone. That's it. You're dead. Nothing to it. That's kind of sad to think about, really. Let's not think about that. Protection spells and new beginnings, ending a if you really want to end a romantic relationship, just break up with the person. Remember we talked about this in my video that came out today that no one watched? I tell you, I don't even understand why I keep doing the witchy show anymore, to be completely honest with you. You can use it in mourning, in covens. Wait, in covens? Use graveyard dirt in coven rituals to signify a change in leadership, a breakaway from a large group, or ending of an era of a coven's history. Could use graveyard dirt with Charmed. Charmed is over. You're like, no, it's not. There's a new Charmed. No one cares. Okay? That's not a good show. I watched the first season and I regret it. I'm sorry, I do. But for me, Graveyard Dirt doesn't really hold the same weight. Like dirts in general don't really do anything for me. It's hard to use them in oils because, well, they turn into mud. Right? They make your oils look really ugly. And you can't use them in incense because who wants to be burning dirt on a coal? Right? I mean, the only other way that you could use graveyard dirt in like a spell at the altar could be on like candle dressings. I mean, you could put it in poppets and you could put it in sachets and you could put it in waters. I mean, it just makes some mud. And then you're spraying water around your house, like muddy water. Don't do that. But for working with the spirits, I find patchouli, frankincense, some types of copals are really great for honoring the spirits. Leaving out like a glass of wine, or if you're working with demons like Boone, at least in my craft, I don't know about your craft, but in mine, for Boone, leaving out some tequila that you see. Where the hell is my finger pointing? Over, up, there. I'm bad at this. There's tequila behind me on the shelf in a tiny little bottle that I don't even drink because I don't know. I don't like I like the taste of tequila, but it's like cheap tequila that my friend got me when she was in the States. It's like, I don't know, $5 bottle of tequila. So it works well for Boone. And, you know, every now and then I'll have to have a shot with him, but it's just, it's gross. The other thing I wanted to talk about, how long has this been going for? God, this has been going for half an hour. It still tells me there are 0 people, but now I have 2 likes. YouTube is broken. I'm telling you, they need to fix this live thing because I bet you anything there are actually people watching. It's just that the people person tells me there are 0 people. Anyways. I also wanted to talk about how I am I'll just put this out there. I'm bored. I'm bored with my channel. I sort of touched on this in my video that I did today. It's like 33 minutes long. It was originally like 50 minutes. I cut it down, Tubies. I cut it down. You got the short version. But the things that I cut out were the things that I actually wanted to talk about instead of beating the same horse with the same stick, right? The same dead horse with the same dead stick. Was that like and we're going to talk about crossroads here in a minute, but I guess I'm kind of at one in terms of the witchy show. Because as I made it evidently clear in my video, I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I'm tired of being insane. And like I said in my video, yeah, I could obviously take a break from YouTube, and maybe I probably should take like a break, which is why I'm taking like a month off. But you guys know me, I take my winters off usually. Like I disappear around the end of October or November. Sometimes I don't disappear at all until like January or whatever. But like I generally tend to disappear for a few months every year and just kind of do my own thing and refresh. And I don't know, this year has been really weird for me. I've been working a lot, which is fine. I work from home, like right here at this spot. There's a whole desk here. And I mean, I'm watching myself talk to one person, the little man person has shown up, and it shows 1. Yay. Anyways. So, but I'm watching myself here, and I'm on like a 50-inch TV screen that I also just watch television on because I'm awesome like that. And I don't know. I've come to this section in life where it's like I've been doing this for 5 years, and I'm not getting the same thing out of it that I used to. It feels like a chore to make videos and to come up with topics and to like care anymore. Right? And I these are the parts that I cut out of my 50-minute long video and made it into like a 33-minute long video. So we're gonna get to Crossroads Magic in a minute, but just bear with me while I tell you that the witchy show is dead. I don't have, and I've said this a few times in the past, but I don't think it ever really came across. I don't have any friends in this community, which is bizarre because I look around at other communities. Like I look at like, for example, I look at like the Minecraft community, and like everybody has a friend in the Minecraft community of some kind. Like they're always doing videos with each other and so on and so forth. And then I look at like the beauty community because I love the drama, and I really do. Drama sells, right? So I'm giving you some drama. I'm hoping that my drama that I'm giving you will sell. But like, the beauty community, like even they, as problematic as they are, they have friends, and maybe I'm lonely. I don't know. I've put so much of myself into this channel in like 5 years that I just feel tired and exhausted and emotionally depleted and mentally depleted, and like I have nothing really to talk about anymore, and I don't really want to talk about anything anymore. But I don't want to like leave YouTube because it's the only connection that I have to the outside world. Like clearly I leave my house and I go on dates and I hang out with my friend, but I'm like a solitary person most of the time, where I like to just kind of sit around and work on my side projects, or like on Saturdays I like to play my game, or I go for walks or whatever. And people exhaust me. That's the horrible thing about being an empath, is that people exhaust me. So much energy and so much just like even going to a grocery store, like I get home from going to a grocery store or going to a place where there's lots of people, and evidently I wear a mask. Okay, because this pandemic is real, people. Wear a mask. Although I guess in the States, with them opening everything up and all that fun stuff, and people getting, it's not happening in Canada. No one's vaccinated in Canada. But the point that I'm getting to is that I feel exhausted. And that's kind of how I feel with YouTube now, is I just feel exhausted. Because I've been doing this for like, what, 5 years now? Like, how many times can I talk about the same subject over and over again? And how many times can I be crazy and sarcastic and sassy and queen and just bullshit? It's what it is. It's all just garbage. And I've been doing it for 5 years and I'm tired of it. Okay, let's talk about Crossroads magic, and then we'll go back to me bitching about how the witchy show, no one cares about YouTube, but the witchy show is dead. So when I think about Crossroads, I literally think about the four intersecting, right? The four-way stop, right? We all have them in our cities. But especially out in the country with dirt roads, a lot of people can get or do get dirt from there, or will pick certain plants, or they'll find sticks or leaves or grasses or whatever, and they'll use them in their magical workings. It states that in ancient Greece, it was believed that Hermes ruled the four-way crossroad and Hecate ruled the three-way crossroad. That's the first I'm ever hearing of any of this, so that's fascinating to hear. In magical terms, crossroads are believed to be a point between the worlds of humans and spirits. Folk tales and folk magic about crossroads extend from ancient times to witchcraft to hoodoo. I think I've heard more about crossroads in hoodoo-based magic than I ever have in witchcraft. It said that spirit communication can be made at crossroads, which, I think is true. I also think that you could talk with demons at crossroads. And I'm not talking about like supernatural with their like crossroads demons where you make a deal with the devil. Although there was this famous guitarist back in like the really early 1900s, where he apparently made a deal with the devil at the crossroads. Whew. We're just yawning because I'm that fucking boring. Where he apparently made a deal with the devil at the crossroads and became a famous. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? He's saying about hellhounds and he's saying about making the deal and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of really interesting concepts that came out of his music. And I haven't really listened to his album that he had put out. I find music from that long ago is difficult to listen to because it was recorded on those giant vinyl discs, and like the thing that they played them on had that like giant, what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but it had like this giant speaker that was like all round and all that fun stuff. And I don't know where I was going with that. Moving on. So rituals can be done at crossroads to learn skills, to bring or keep lovers, acquire prosperity or wisdom, or even leaving, burning, or tossing a petition at the crossroad. Spell work and rituals involving the crossroads can be found online, which many are connected with the hoodoo tradition, yet witches who work with Hecate can make use of it as well, using their own beliefs and traditions. And they've got some information here on Hecate at the crossroads and purpose of crossroads magic and crossroads dirt, which we'll get into. Because why not, right? It now shows me that there are 0 people watching. I bored the one and only person that I have. Again, I'm pretty sure that there's more than 0 people watching because my like just went up to 3. So maybe they liked it and then left. I don't know. I give up. So Hecate, goddess of crossroads. Apparently, according to this article, it had stated that she's the goddess or the ruler of three-way crossroads. And I don't really know if I would consider a three-way intersection to be a crossroad. Because for me, a crossroad, it goes through the other road. It makes a cross. That's why it's called a crossroad, right? It's not a T road, it's a crossroad. Anyways, if you choose to work with Hecate, it can take time to work with her as she isn't the goddess that is readily open. That's the same as the Morrigan, but okay. However, once you've developed a connection or she has made her presence known to you, you can accept her calling. Her presence can be, okay, let's skip this crap. Like, we already know about this. I'm trying to find out where it talks about her crossroad jazz. It doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't. We're going to skip that. If you don't know about Hecate, I'm not going to educate you on that. But I'll give you the link to this. Okay, maybe I won't give you the link to this. It's on Tarot Pugs, and they have a section called Crossroad Magic if you want to like go look that up instead of watching this boring live stream. Okay. So the purpose of crossroad magic involving crossroads can be for two different purposes, mostly to bring something towards you or send something away. Or, and maybe I need to go visit a crossroads in order to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing next with the witchy show, if anything at all. I bet you if there's anybody watching that my haters are watching me and being like, can you please get off YouTube? And I'm working on it. It's a process. It really is. I can't just quit. People will get mad at me if I do that. I'm trying to exit gracefully. Crossroads magic can be done to remove blockages that may be preventing you from manifesting something or to remove any barriers. Crossroads magic can be worked to bring prosperity, abundance, working with spirits, spirit communication, honoring the dead, banishing, domination, making wishes, finding direction, making decisions or choices, or when faced with a crossroad in life. Crossroads magic can either be done at a crossroads or you can bring crossroads home by collecting some of the dirt at the crossroads. Crossroads dirt in spells can be used for the purposes that relate to crossroads magic. Now, I have some crossroads dirt that I collected in a graveyard at a crossroads. Okay. You can collect them there. And it doesn't have to be in the center of the crossroad. It can be on like the side of the road or whatever. And it doesn't have to be like at the side, like at the intersection, little corner piece. It can just be literally on the side of the road. As long as it's leading up to or close to the actual crossing intersection, then that'll be fine. And I have some and I haven't used it. And I don't know why. Because I guess you could say that I'm at a crossroads. Right? It doesn't really state much more about like what crossroads magic is aside from some of the types of spells that you could use it in. But some of the spells that I would use it in is finding direction. I mean, I usually turn to my tarot cards to find direction, or if I'm looking for direction in something. But at the same time, I don't know. I haven't used it. I have it. I haven't used it. It could be really great at getting rid of somebody. I should use it on my downstairs neighbor. Just get rid of him. Just make him drop dead. 70-something-year-old drunk who blares music all the time. No one would shed a tear if he just dropped dead. So crossroads dirt itself, the ideal is to get dirt from a 3- or 4-way crossroad that is out of your town or city or in an area that is not well populated or traveled often. I'm yawning all the time and I have no idea why. I've done nothing all day, so I should not be mentally exhausted, but I am. According to some traditions, when acquiring crossroads dirt, it is customary to leave behind something such as 3 coins, pennies, or higher denomination. Don't leave like $3 or $30 or $300 at a crossroads, because that sounds like not a good idea. Right? At each corner of the crossroads, this is called paying for the dirt. I've never left an offering. I just collect the dirt and go. I mean, it's from the crossroads. Again, I could be doing this whole witchcraft thing horribly wrong. I don't collect graveyard dirt from a dead person's grave. I collect it from the graveyard. And I don't collect crossroads dirt from the center of the crossroad. I collect it from around the crossroad. And I don't leave tribute to any of these things. Collect dirt from the corner or sides of the intersection. Holy fuck me. I apologize, Tubies. I'm just yawning all over the place. And place in a jar with a lid. It is best to label the jar and date it. I'm sorry, is the dirt gonna go bad? Does dirt go bad? In the traditions of leaving something behind in return is customary in many witchcraft traditions, such as when collecting natural items or in nature, to leave something behind for nature spirits, fairies, trees, etc., and thanking them for the item. I'm telling you, I'm doing this all wrong. There's tarot in Crossroads. The working with Crossroads magic can open up new possibilities and options that can become available and can lead to looking into other directions that you may want to take. This could be a spiritual career, love life, blah, 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 blah. Tarot has always been a divination tool to look at different scenarios and possibilities of situations. And many spreads have either a card position or alternative future outcome or probably future outcome in addition to the outcome. Can we stop yawning? Like, holy fuck me. If you faced a crossroad in your life, tarot can help. Yeah, we get it. This just talks about tarot now. Again, you can find this article on Tarot Pug's Crossroad Magic. And then you can find the other one where I was talking about graveyard dirt on moodymoons.com. And they have a section on graveyard dirt, how to use it in witchcraft and magic. Okay, so that's if you're looking for that kind of information. So I haven't, as I've already stated, I don't leave offerings, which probably makes me a bad witch or a fake witch. Take your pick. No one cares. And I haven't used the crossroad dirt for anything. I collected it, like I said, from a graveyard at a crossroads, and I haven't used it. I've used the graveyard dirt in oil of the dead, candle dressings, dusts, so on and so forth. I'm dying. I'll be dead before the end of the week. But it's mostly used for like communicating with the spirits more than anything else. If there's anybody out there watching, because YouTube's broken and the little people say that there's 0 people watching, but if there's anybody watching and they have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat section, which is empty, and I'll answer your questions. But in the meantime, I want to talk about the witchy show. Now, I've already stated earlier in this video that I'm bored, and I'm tired, and I'm exhausted. And I stated in my previous video that I could take a break, but as I already stated, if I did that, I'd be in the exact same position. And I probably wouldn't come back. One of the problems that I am currently facing is that I have talked about everything there is to talk about. I don't get political on my channel, and I don't dive into other people's traditions. Like, I don't feel it's appropriate for me to start one day talking about hoodoo, because A, I'm white, and B, I don't practice hoodoo, so like, who am I to speak on hoodoo? But it is a subject that fascinates me, and I do like reading about it and learning about it and all that fun stuff. I've talked about Facebook groups to death. I've talked about when magic can't help you to death. And then Lunar Wisdom came along and was like, magic can always help you. You've been doing all of these videos wrong. But I still hold by a lot of what I've said where magic can't help you. I'm sorry, it can't. You've got to go through some things that you have to go through. I've talked about, I've shown you every kind of magical working that I've done at least 3 times. How many times can we sit there and make the original 3? How many times can we do a money spell? How many times can I show you a love spell? How many times can we make an oil with Belith? How many times can I talk about Boon? How many, you get it, right? And I think one of the problems is that I don't have anybody else in the community to talk about things with, to bounce ideas off of, because I'm a horrible person, I guess. Which is fair. You're allowed to think that. I mean, realistically, you can think whatever you want. I used the Crossroads and Graveyard Dirt as a filler for this video to get to the meat of the subject that I wanted to talk about without just sitting here and just vaping and complaining. Now I get to complain. I've educated you, okay, and given you my thoughts and opinions on how I use Graveyard Dirt and Crossroad Dirt. So now we get to sit here and talk about how I don't know what to do with the Witchy Show anymore. It's not even my craft. My craft is fine. I haven't done anything. I haven't been to the altar in months because there's nothing to do. My job is stable. My pay is stable, right? Like I've told you guys many times, I'm a money witch, right? Like money has always been the thing that I have always had an issue with, whether I'm overspending, which I do all the time. You'd think I'd learn by now. You really do. You'd think that I would stop and learn and like appreciate the fact that I have any money at all, but I don't have any money. I'm very poor. And it's all my fault. So I've also been thinking about new directions in which I could take the Witchy Show and what that could look like in terms of witchy content. And everything I think about, like I look at my past videos and everything that I think about doing, whether it's like a new series that I'm wanting to do, or a working, right? Like a little cinematic working video where you get to see some of what I'm doing, or like just sitting at the altar and doing something and talking to you guys about a subject. I look at that and I'm like, I don't want to do it because it doesn't get any views. Like hardly anybody watches them. And it's usually, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, and it's going to be kind of mean, but it's the same comments over and over. I don't know how these people don't get carpal tunnel syndrome from typing the same comment over and over again, but it's usually the same comment where it's like, thank you for sharing. Thank you for uploading yet another fabulous video. And it's like, I love you, I do, but you've typed this on 12 of my other videos and I appreciate you, I do. And maybe I shouldn't complain at all. Maybe I should just be thankful and happy and grateful for the things that I have, and I am. Don't get me wrong, I am. I love all of you, I do. But I'm coming to a point in my life where it's like, I'm gonna be 33, and like, what 30-year-old is still on YouTube? I know, there's a lot of you that are well over 30 that are probably on YouTube, and you're like, I'm on YouTube, and I'm hitting 50. And congratulations, I'm happy for you. But you also have more going on for you in your videos and in your live streams. Everything just seems put together, not perfect, but put together, and I'm just a mess. And I think after doing this for 5 years, I've just become really lonely in the community. Like, I've burned some don't get me wrong, girl. I've burned me some fucking bridges. And I have closed some doors on some toxic ass bitches. But at the same time, it's like, I think I've ended up alienating myself in such a way where it's like, I'm just talking to the same 5 people who watch my videos when they come out and leave the same comments over and over again. And I'm just like, going in circles and trying to figure out, do I want to keep going in circles? And I'm sure that there's like tons of subjects and content that I could talk about on my channel, but hasn't it been covered by somebody who's more experienced of a witch than I? Hasn't it been talked about to death by the community that used to exist? Remember, the witchy community is dead. We're not poking that corpse with the same stick anymore. That corpse ain't coming back to life. And I don't know, after recording that video, that like 33-minute long video yesterday and uploading it and sitting here today and thinking more about the witchy show and more about what is it that I have to offer and what is it that I have to bring to the table that is YouTube and witchcraft. I don't know. I don't know. And I guess that's something that I have to figure out on my own. And it would be really nice if I had people to bounce ideas off of. I guess if we had more of a community, like more people making videos, more people watching each other's videos, more people commenting on each other's videos, more of a connection, I wouldn't be having this issue. But I don't know. I feel lonely and alienated. Like, I was watching Tequila's live stream last night and she had like 2 people in there. And I can't remember the last time I ever had 1 person on this channel, let alone 2. I think that's kind of what hit me, is I just kind of felt a little lonely after watching that stream. I was like, oh, she could disappear for years on end and come back and like everybody wants to do a video with her. And I don't have anybody really to talk to or be friends with. Which is sad. I'm not a horrible person, just most of the time. And that was the other thing that I was thinking about. I was like, the witchy show can't keep going in the direction that it is. Because for like the last 5 years, there's always been some kind of like sassy, snarky, wicca-bicca, hippy-dippy thing to the witchy show, right? You know me, I preach. I preach it like it is. I tell you exactly what I'm thinking with no filter and no fucks given. But I think somewhere along the lines, I just got a little less brave with wanting to tell you how it is with no filter. I noticed that a lot of you got tired and exhausted of that in some of my last videos that I did on like the Sundays, right? Where I was like the witchy community is, or I don't know, YouTube is dead or something. And I'm tired too. I just can't do it anymore. I can't be Queen Elsa. I'm sorry. I don't think I ever was Queen Elsa. I can't be the queen anymore. I can't be the preacher man anymore. I can't I can't do it. I don't know. I woke up one day and I was sitting down to record a video, and I was starting to edit the video, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this person anymore. I don't know. I've been staring at that person for like the last 5 years through my editing software, and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. I don't think anybody's ever liked you. I think people watched you for entertainment purposes and didn't learn anything or get anything out of it. I think they just had a good laugh, and then the laugh got old. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way. But we're human. Humans make mistakes, right? You're sitting there and you're being like, no, they don't. We're Borg. We strive for perfection. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Speaking of which, has anybody who watches Star Trek that's out there, has anybody seen the new Picard series? I just finished the first season. And I have to tell you, it's like Game of Thrones meets space minus the incest. Like, it is intense. It is dark. What is with TV shows these days doing reboots or just in general being dark and gritty and emotionally exhausting? Like, Riverdale used to be a fun little comic book that you would read in the 50s. And now it's this beautiful man with abs you could do laundry on, getting himself into all kinds of trouble. Like, what? What is happening? Or like, you remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch? You remember her two aunts and the closet door they would go through, and like the talking cat, and how dark that show on Netflix got before they decided to cancel it because apparently going longer than 3 seasons is bad. I don't know. But that's kind of like how the Witchy show feels to me. Like, it just feels like it's a show that's gone on for so long and for just done the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And like I said in my last video, I don't want to do the drama thing. I don't want to just start nonsensical drama. At one point, I feel like I can talk about this because Lunar Wisdom doesn't even watch my videos anymore. So at one point, me and Lunar Wisdom were having a conversation about starting fake drama between us for the views, because we both came to the conclusion that drama would sell. So we were gonna like plan out how to do a fake fight between the two of us, because she's a bigger witch and we both understood that if we got into a fight that everybody and their mother's dog would be tuning in to find out what the hell is going on and like how this started and why it's happening, and we both get subscribers and views and all of that stuff. And we quickly also realized that it's a very bad idea. And we never did it. And I wouldn't want to do that because it feels, obviously it's fake, but it also feels stupid. Now that I'm thinking back on that conversation we had, if we ever did, like if we ever went through with it back then, I think now looking back at it, I'd be like, what the hell were we thinking? I also don't have anybody to do interviews with. And there isn't really any witch that even wants to do interviews with me because I feel like there's a norm that you have to fit into in the witchy community. You have to be a certain way. You have to talk a certain way. You have to be a certain person. You have to fit in. and I've never fit in. And I think that's the other part that's like getting to me, is the fact that I don't fit in. And I want to, which is kind of sad. Because like who really wants to fit in? Who wants to be the same person as everybody else, right? Like everybody wants to be unique, and everybody wants to be their own person, but that's not working for the witchy show, as we've all seen. And going back to like the types of content that I could do, I haven't really found a type of content that I could do, because I don't want to do like the 10 signs that you're a witch, or like the broader kind of subjects that are like new agey but have a witchy vibe to them, right? Like I don't want to do that stuff, but like I can't do the same videos that I was doing because it doesn't get me anything. Like in terms of viewership, in terms of people wanting to sit down and take 10 or 15 or 20 or 30, or in the case of this video, an hour out of their life and watch the video, because that's not where we are anymore. And I don't have the same loyal fan base that other witches that are more popular on YouTube have. So I couldn't just disappear and have a bunch of people asking me if I'm going to make videos again, or because no one would care is what I'm getting to. And I think that part is also kind of like, I understand it, but it's also kind of like hurtful in a way, that I don't have the same kind of impact as other witches do. I don't think I have any impact. I don't know. I'm just talking to myself at this point. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just trying to get a bunch of things off my chest and see if any of it sticks to the wall. Because I'm trying to figure out like what is it that I'm doing anymore. I don't know. Remember when I used to have like issues with my craft where I didn't understand like when things were like quiet and like why nobody was around and like the spirits were quiet and all that other stuff? Yeah, well now I'm having that problem, but with the goddamn YouTube channel. And it doesn't have anything to do with like subscribers or viewer, well, kind of with views, but not really with subscribers or likes or dislikes or anything like that. But it's more of like with the views and trying to figure out, where did I lose you people? Like, when did I lose you people? And I think I lost you people around the time that I started investing myself more into series-oriented content, because that's when my views just tanked and went straight down the drain. Which was interesting because I thought people would want to deep dive into subjects with me. I thought that like they would want to be a part of that and like learn more about that. And it was just the same people over and over again being like, oh, I love your content. I love your video. And I love them. I do. Trust me. I love all of you. I love all of my commenters and I respond to all of my comments. And lately I have been removing a lot of these comments where it's like 015 and then like a link to a website that I've never clicked on. Like I mark these comments as spam and I report these comments, and YouTube doesn't do anything because they don't care. And I don't know. But it's mostly come down to me just being really lonely in the witchy community. and not really having any friends. Like, there's some people, like, every now and then, like every 6 months or so, I'll talk to Lunar Wisdom. But even like Solitary, she's not really on YouTube anymore. Like, she's busy with her own life, and I'm not really friends with Ember Honey Raven. Like, we talk sometimes on like Instagram, or like she'll leave a comment on like a YouTube video or whatever. And I just feel, I don't know, like I look at other witches that are in this community and they're always doing interviews with each other, or they have topics to talk about, or they have people that want to watch their videos. That's the big thing. People want to watch their videos. And I'm like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? What are you saying that I'm not saying? How are you saying it that I'm not saying it in the same way? And I just feel lonely. I think that's the biggest thing, is I just feel lonely. Anyways, I've complained enough, and I can continue going in circles over and over again. But we talked about Crossroads Dirt. We talked about Graveyard Dirt. We've talked about how the Witchy Show is lonely and dead and doesn't really know what to do anymore, because nothing I do gets any views anymore. Like, I'm lucky if I get above 30 views on any of my videos. Like, go back and look at any of my videos and look at the views on them, and they're horrible. They're horrible. And I don't know what to do anymore. So, I don't know. I don't know, Tubies.